What's going on, everybody? It's Antonio from Ikari Press. We're on the Indiegogo, $73,190. Santana, baby. Triple cover pack is, of course, still ongoing. If you want it, head on over to Indiegogo or just type in IkariPress.com. It'll take you right there. Link, of course, is in the description. Also in the description is this link right here where you can read the first 21 pages of brand for free. Check that out. There's a direct download link in the description if you guys are interested. It won't cost you a penny. And then if you decide that you like what you saw, throw us a little support. We appreciate it. All right, so let's get into it. I bought a digital download of Avengers Endgame. It was a download with all the bonus. So it had all the deleted scenes, and it had the director's commentary. And so I wanted to do a video because as I was listening to the director's commentary, I was curious about it because I loved Avengers Infinity War. And I liked Endgame, but it had some problems in it. And I have spoken at length about some of the things that I saw as problems in the movie. And Screen Rant breaks down certain things, but I have some of my own thoughts as I go down this article. I'll just kind of speak on certain things that let me see. Okay, this part here where they and this was at the beginning. The Hawkeye family scene was originally in Infinity War's ending, and that's true because a lot of people were upset that Hawkeye wasn't in Infinity War, and this is one of the things that they talked about, that this opening where they show when they show Hawkeye's family getting snapped out, it was supposed to be the end of Avengers Infinity War. The young lady here holding the bow is Joe Russo's daughter. Two of his kids, I don't know how many children he's got, but I also know the scene where they're at the restaurant with the Hulk, and the kids, the group of 3 kids show up. I think the youngest girl in that group was also one of Joe Russo's daughters. They mentioned that. So yeah, this young lady with the bow here that's playing Hawkeye's daughter is Joe Russo's daughter, and then the youngest girl in that group of 3 kids that appeared asking the Hulk to take a picture with him, that was Joe Russo's other daughter. So he must just have the two. But either way, they were Russo. They was all just popping up in the movie. But let me see. The 5-year time jump helps make the characters complete. Oh Lord, I might come back to that later. Because here's my prop. Well, hold on. Let me just go down because as I want to get into it. They explained how Captain Marvel just happened to find Tony Stark and Nebula out there. Apparently there was a tracking device. They never explained this in the movie, so a lot of people was like, how did she just find them in the vast, in vast outer space like that? And there was apparently a homing beacon on the ship, and they were able to track it down, but they didn't explain that, and that did confuse a lot of people. Because they were just like, oh, so she's just Captain Marvel, she can just find them anywhere. And so they explained on the director's commentary how that happened. Okay. One of the things they were talking about is even though Thanos was injured, he could have obviously put up a bigger fight than what he did when the Avengers came to try to stop him. But he had accomplished his task, and so he didn't care if they killed him at that point. So Thanos let the Avengers kill him. This part, the Smart Hulk's Infinity War scene revealed. Okay, so the Smart Hulk was apparently supposed to appear in Avengers Infinity War, and there was a very interesting scene that they described where Hulk and Banner are arguing, and then Banner makes a deal with the Hulk, because the Hulk's been resisting and not just showing. He's tired of just being at Banner's beck and call, and he shows up. One of I think it's Corvus Glaive or whatever. They were fighting, and apparently Banner and Hulk make a deal, and then they merge into the Smart Hulk, and then Smart Hulk, comes out of the suit and and beats down, I think, Corvus Glaive, or one of the children of Thanos. He beats him down. I thought it might have been the what they call it, Black Dwarf, but they mentioned it in the commentary. But that was a scene, and I actually thought that was a cool scene, the way they described it. However, they mentioned some of the test audiences and stuff, and people apparently didn't. It kind of took away from the movie, so they had to cut it out. I was like, okay, I got you. So that's why that didn't happen. Nebula doesn't know the Soul Stones rules. Well, yeah, that makes sense to me, because she obviously, when Hawkeye and Black Widow go to get the Soul Stones, she just knows that Thanos and Gamora went to get the Soul Stone, and only Thanos came back. And she doesn't know that was the deal, because obviously, if they knew that, then they might have handled that differently. Let's see. Yeah, the Endgame. Okay, because I definitely want to talk about this, because there was so much. Christopher Markus and what's his name? Stephen McFeely. They because the director's commentary had both of the Russos and then Stephen and Christopher. So the two writers plus the two directors. And here's the thing: I'm a big fan of these gentlemen, but they kind of disappointed me with some of the cop-outs that they gave on why some of the decisions were made. Particularly when the Hulk snaps, he puts on the Tony Stark gauntlet with the Infinity Stones, and he snaps his finger and brings everybody back. And it is kind of make a little joke about the fact that Hawkeye's wife, Laura, mysteriously still has cell phone service after being gone for 5 years. And I thought that was weak, man. I thought that was so weak. I was like, dude, what are y'all talking about, man? And I was like, when you look, these are the same guys that wrote The Winter Soldier. And that is such a well-written script. And I thought Civil War, now it's strange to me when I talk to people that don't like Civil War. I thought Civil War was very good. But I thought The Winter Soldier was great. Winter Soldier was incredible. And these are the same guys, so I'm sitting there going, I know they can write. But here's my problem with Stephen McFeely and Christopher Markus. So I got a couple of things I want to talk about with them. They talked about that scene with the rat in the van when the rat reactivates the quantum machine and releases Scott, Ant-Man, back into our universe. That was weak sauce, and they admitted it was weak sauce. But they said, well, we kind of have a rule that if we're gonna do something like that, it has to happen in the first act. He said if that happens later in the movie, then that's lazy writing. So because it happened in the first act, so they know it was weak. That's what I'm saying. So I was like, you guys know that was weak, and y'all put that out there anyway. You can hear them talking about it on the director's commentary. They knew that was kind of a cheat. They used a cheat code right there. So this vehicle has been sitting there dusting for the last 5 years. The battery's dead, everything. And all of a sudden the rat shows up and the machine works after 5 years. That was weak. And they know it was weak, but it's like, ha. And another thing they said, especially like when they started breaking down some of the time travel problems that they had, they were like, well, it wasn't meant to be a major focus of the movie. We don't want the viewers to sit there and just keep focusing on some of the time travel plot and everything, because that's not the main plot of the movie. And I'm like, dude, that was a huge part of the movie. So you can't just say, hey, that's not a major plot, so don't worry about it. Just kind of just go with it. Okay, they time travel. That's what happened. And then when people start picking apart all the holes, which, again, when you listen to the director's commentary, they know, they've heard what the fans have said. I talked about on the stream the other day where Kevin Feige talked about the fact, he did a whole Reddit thread and everything, and people were like, wait a minute, There were people in like helicopters and airplanes. People were in the hospital getting operated on, and Thanos snapped, and some of those people got snapped out of existence. And Kevin Feige was like, "Oh, the Hulk was smart enough to make sure everybody came back safely. Anybody that was snapped back, he made sure that they were returned home safely." And I was like, that was such a weak answer to me, because like I said, they specifically inserted that scene in Infinity War with Nick Fury. You see cars crashing, you see the helicopter explodes into a building. So you see all that. And then they go, "Oh, the Hulk made sure everybody got back safe." I'm like, you think about that. That's 3.5 billion people. And not to mention all the animals that were snapped out of existence as well. So they had some problems. And again, mentioning the fact that, because I kept saying, I said, wait a minute, Hawkeye's wife's been gone for 5 years. Hawkeye's been on the run for 5 years. He's been going around the world like hunting down criminals and stuff. And S.H.I.E.L.D.'s been trying to take him out because of the stuff that he's been doing, right? But he's got a cell phone working with his wife, and his wife is able to contact him. They know that was weak. They go, "Oh, mysteriously, he still has cell phone service after 5 years." And I'm like, if you guys wrote this movie, you have the power to fix stuff like that. So when the fans look at it and go, "That was weak," and then you realize you're taking it on the chin because of what the fans said, then you go, yeah, she has cell phone service after 5 years. Isn't that nice? And I'm like, y'all know that's weak, right? Okay. So here's my biggest problem with Stephen McFeely and Christopher Markus. So one of the things they talked about was the decision that allows, because they broke their own rules, like having present Nebula kill past Nebula, and she's able to still survive. So that was weird for me. So I can go back in the past and kill my past self, and I'll still be alive. But they said that's because they talked to scientists that were, very familiar with like quantum theory or whatever and time travel. And they actually brought in a few of these different scientists so that they would have an idea of how time travel would work in this universe. And they said that once you go back, that your past is your present, and it branches off, and there's multiple, which again, that sounds like they've set up a multiverse situation. So because there's a multiverse situation, which they're definitely doing in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, so they got a multiverse now, but it just like the rules are so they fluctuate. They also talk about the decision to allow Steve Rogers to go back in time and be with Peggy Carter. I said this, that I thought that they should have stuck with what they were doing and allowed Steve to find happiness with Sharon. Sharon's a love interest of Captain America in the comics. So if she had gotten with Sharon, I think the fans would be happy because they want Steve to be happy. But at the same point in time, a lot of fans were upset that Steve never got to be with Peggy. But whatever. They do that. Steve decides, hey, I'm going back. I'm going to drop the Infinity Stones off and everything, and I'm going to go get my girl. Okay? I'm out. So he comes back. Here's my beef with Steve McFeely and Christopher Markus. They talk about the old man Cap scene where Sam Wilson goes up to the bench and Steve is sitting there and he's an old man, and here's this scene, hearing this part, I actually played this back a few times because I wanted to make sure I'm absorbing what they were saying. Because I've argued with a lot of fans, because I thought that whatever choice they made as far as who should get Cap's shield, whether it be Bucky or Sam Wilson, I was cool with either choice. And some people were like, no, it has to be Bucky. Bucky's been there with Cap since the war and their best friends growing up, all that. And I'm looking at it from just being a comic book fan. Yeah, Bucky has that legacy, and I have no problem with him being Captain America. But I also have no problem with Sam Wilson being Captain America. Because in the comic books, Sam and Cap have 40 years of history as well. And unlike Bucky, the Falcon actually shared a byline with Captain America at one point. In fact, and I'll link this in the end credits, my interview with Steve Englehart. He talked about when he took over writing Captain America in the 70s, it wasn't Captain America. It was Captain America and the Falcon. That was the book he took over. And then they tried to get him to kind of like downgrade the Falcon. One of the things I liked about Steve Englehart's run on Captain America at that time is he did not marginalize the character of Sam Wilson. He wrote him like a real person. He gave him a lot of depth. Steve took a lot of care when he wrote minority characters, and I think that was one of the things that I've enjoyed about his work over the years. And again, I'll put the Steve Englehart interview at the end of this video so you can check it out. But Stephen McFeely and Christopher Markus admitted that they gave Sam the shield specifically because he was black. And I got a problem with that. I never thought of Sam as Black Falcon. He was just Sam. They made it a racial issue, and that's my problem with it. They said, what a great statement for America that Captain America is a black man. And I was like, that really turned me off. He shouldn't get the shield because he's black. He should get the shield because he's Sam. And because he's had Cap's back. From the moment that him and Cap met each other, they've been down. They've been down like 4 flat tires. That's why he has just as much of a right to the shield as Bucky does, because he's got love for Cap just like Bucky does. That's why, not because of the color of his skin. And these guys are admitting that they gave him boy, that really ticked me off. That really ticked me off. They admit they were trying to. Oh man, that really turned me off. That really irritated me that they did that. But yeah, that's why Sam ended up. So a lot of the people that I've argued with about whether or not Sam should have gotten the shield, just ignore my complete argument, because like I said, my thoughts were just, I wasn't thinking racially when I said that. They were. They gave Sam the shield just because they wanted to make sure that a black man. It's just like when Joe Russo played the gay man in Avengers Endgame. They didn't get they thought that was gonna get this a whole bunch of press and everything. Nobody cared. And then all of a sudden, every interview they was like, "Oh, Joe played the gay man. Joe played the gay man." They kept pushing it all of a sudden. So they were, because everybody's like, "Okay, he's the gay guy." Next scene. They don't care. And they were like, wait a minute, this is groundbreaking. We've got an openly gay character in the MCU. Don't you care? Oh, we were trying the representation. And they also talked about, and the writers talked about that scene at the end where they wanted to make sure all the female characters came together. They did that for the same reason. They were like, we want to do as much as possible to empower women, and we've got a lot of strong female characters in the MCU, and we thought, what a great moment to have all those characters come in together and for a very powerful scene. And I was like, this is why, because I thought Avengers Endgame could have been incredible, and they stuck all this extra stuff in there instead of focusing on finishing their story. These two guys can write their asses off, but they dropped the ball here. And I gotta be honest, that really ticked me off. Like that stuff with Sam, like I said, I never once thought that. I don't know, that really ticked me off. I really liked Sam just because he's Sam, and people have written him in the right way. And they're like, oh, a person of color should have the, America has changed. And I'm like, come on, man. Ethan Van Sciver said something interesting the other day. He was streaming. He was talking about the white savior. Somebody that SJW sometimes did. A lot of SJWs seem to think they need to be the white savior. And I've talked about this a few times. I don't need white people to save me. Just treat me fair, and I'll make it on my own merit. And these guys feel like they're saving black people. Stop. That is. Anyway. I am very curious as to what you guys think about this. Again, I liked Endgame, but it has some problems. But let me know what you guys think. If you heard the director's commentary, if you bought it on DVD or whatever. Like I said, I bought it on Amazon. I just downloaded it. But with that being said, I'm going to wrap this video up. And if you guys want to reach out to me, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and right here on this YouTube channel, everywhere is at Ikari Press. And if you type in IkariPress.com, it will take you directly to my Indiegogo campaign for my comic book series brand with the phenomenal Kanan White. We're on Teespring. We're on Amazon.com. The links to those are in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe. I'm out.